Thank you for watching us. Oh, thank you. You're going to be rewarded. We're going to be talking about. We're getting ready for Valentine's Day. Groundhog's Day is gone. We're in sync with our national holidays. So maybe you're going to tell our huge audience, international audience, about how you met your last love.
Okay. All right.
This can be used to meet a new love.
We appreciate you tuning in on this big day of the Super Bowl, which we did just watch the first 5 minutes. Very exciting.
But not as exciting as what you had. Yes.
Right. We're trying to keep our values in perspective.
Yes,
we're going
love.
to talk about love.
Do we want love or physical violence? Or are they the same? No.
Well, we're glad you're here to, contemplate these things like love rather than just sheer entertainment of
Yes.
the Super Bowl. And we'll try to do you justice.
Yes, this is good. How to
do you justice.
how to find love that feels right.
So.
I'm going to get off the set for a moment.
Oh, you are?
Just to watch you. Yes, so it'll give you the freedom to describe your.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. So I have lived alone for about maybe 7 years, and actually I had tried to really sort through from age 30 to about 40 my sexual identity. And I fell in love with 2 men in my 20s, truly fell in love. And
what is that like, falling in love?
Falling in love? I remember, I guess, just a warm feeling, and then sentimental things that when you just hear about them on the outside are sound extremely sentimental, but the Carpenters song, Why Do Birds Sing When You Suddenly Appear, had meaning to me when I was gazing at my boyfriend Barry across the table, and I couldn't take my eyes off of him, and I had that song, and it had meaning.
Now, do you think this is true only for
happiness?
For young for young love, or is this something that is for all ages?
Wow, that's a good question. I saw my niece Tessany have such a powerful love for Poppy when she was probably 2 or 3 years old.
Poppy's her grandfather.
Poppy is her grandfather, maybe 2, 3, 4 years old, and I hope that it serves as a foundation for love as she gets older. And so it was a certain time period that she had a strong bond with my stepfather, her Poppy.
And do people in their 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s still fall in love?
So do people in their 40s, 60s, and 70s
and
still
50s,
and 50s
it
fall
sounds
in
somewhat
love?
passive, falling in, like,
fall in love.
right, rather than rising in love.
Sort of rising up in love. Gosh, that's a good question. Maybe when you come on the set, you could share some of your experience of being 70 and share some of your experience and with friends that you have.
Do you know people fall in love in their 40s and 50s?
Well, my father met my stepmother at he might have been 30 something.
It's a little different. We're talking about late 40s.
Late 40s.
Yeah.
Well, that is something to contemplate, the extent to which that happens.
Because they do say when you, like
Yeah.
when I was 26 and I fell in love for the first time, her parents said, "You're in love with love." It just felt so nice. I didn't really know. Wasn't too super concerned.
How old were you?
I was 26.
When you were 26, you
Fell
fell.
in love with someone who's 15 and a half.
Oh, you fell in love with
Yes,
someone
it was
15
so
and a
nice.
half.
I was a little young fucking
And
love.
someone told you
She was a
you
little
fell
bit-
in love with love.
Her parents said, "You're in love with love," because I
Her
wasn't too
parents said
concerned with
you're
her.
in
It
love
just
with
felt
love.
so nice for the first time, feeling these nice
Oh,
feelings.
yeah. There's something intense about it. I remember going out with my first boyfriend, and he had fallen in love with this woman named Laura in high school. And when she broke up with him, he did become suicidal. It was a intense time, and there's something intense about that first love. I remember moaning involuntarily when my boyfriend broke up with me, my first love, and roaming through the empty golf course, just letting myself moan. And so it's curious
I have
about
a student.
first love. I think
Student
it's,
who's young, and
you
she
know,
said her first boyfriend used to write love songs for her on his guitar and play them.
oh, it's her.
And she
boyfriend
hated
write
that.
love songs. Oh,
She
didn't
hated
like
it.
it.
Blech, blech, and got rid of him. It was way too sentimental for her, and he couldn't be without her, and you didn't like that at all. You were my
It's too sentimental.
no
for her.
way, way. And now she's with someone else, and he's had a child with someone,
Mm.
and she's much happier with this some other person who isn't so
Mm.
gushy,
Mhm.
needy.
So she's happier with someone not so gushy.
Yeah,
and
and yes, who doesn't write love songs for her.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
So we don't
I'm
know.
gonna-
So we don't know this. Yes,
Yeah.
I think I can love a lot of people. No, I had a feeling.
I wonder how hard it is for the audience
To
to
when I'm not
have you
here.
talk a lot.
Yes,
when
yes,
you're-
I thought I was going to be
I
listening.
keep repeating what you're saying.
I thought,
but-
yes, I thought I was going to be listening, and so I had this feeling of falling in love recently with someone I didn't know very well, and it was very nice till I got to know the person, and then it's very nice. I could feel the love between us, but it's not quite a falling in love like I did with this young Barbara when I was 26.
Oh,
Oh, with my eyes
Yes.
closed. Yes,
yeah.
there was this.
It's an ecstaticness to it. Is
Yes,
that
but
true?
it's not a knowing of the other person, really. It's just being very, so I don't know these things at
Yeah.
all. I mean, I don't think,
Yeah.
like I have a friend who's getting to know someone and they're liking
Mm.
each other, but he's saying we're getting to know each other, it's not. And or the friends we know, that they love each other, I don't think they're, what people say, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, they say that,
Yeah.
right?
But doesn't it happen, you know that song? Amy, what you gonna do?
Keep
I
going.
can't help keep falling in love with you for a time, maybe longer, if I do.
For a time, maybe
So-
longer, wow.
I wonder, it'd be interesting to ask people like my parents, do they just have these times of just falling back in love? And I like how, I've enjoyed with you about getting to know these different levels and how things change. I for a while I had trouble with the messiness and wasn't so sure that was something that was okay. And now, for the most part, it honestly is not a pressing issue that it was before. And it's interesting how things honestly can change. Would you like to talk?
I was going to hear I'm sorry I interrupted your story. Can I go back now and I'll come back when I
Okay.
say something? Yes, I'll try to be
Okay.
good.
All right.
Bye.
So, and I'll keep aware of the time, so
Yes.
we have equal.
No, this might be totally your time. Maybe we'll see.
Equal time.
So you're living
Okay,
alone.
so I am living alone in a studio apartment that I can afford, and I reach a conclusion, I guess at this point about my sexual identity. I was with two women in my 30s, and it didn't feel like it reached the core for me. I think that there was one woman I was with that it rang the true gong of truth for her. So I do believe that this is certainly not a thing about if it's right or wrong. It was right for her. I know it. It just rang the gong of truth and celebration for her thoroughly. And for me, it really didn't. And, you know, granted, I think there might be different aspects and maybe who you're with that bring out different parts that maybe it would feel more true, but I kind of did some sleuthing about my own psychology for myself. And I think I understood that I had wrong intentions for myself, and it came from a wound for myself, and it had to do with not feeling strong, a strong woman, and wanting to be a strong woman.
So what's wrong? What were the wrong intentions?
The wrong intentions were if I associated myself with a woman that dedicated herself to another woman, and that that there was that there was something strong and good about that, meaning that I wanted that, but it was a wanting that I think of my mixed up feelings. I had a lot of confusion. So I don't know how much I want to go into it, but it was confusion of a little more complicated than simply wanting my mother to really, in the divorce, to honor me and my life, rather than her just following her own path, which ended up being in some ways hurtful for me, and also gifts abounded later in my life, but to have her dedicate herself to me.
Oh, another woman, you mean?
Yeah, and that was a wound I was trying to rectify on top in a superficial way to make the world make sense. And
Or you see, you could finally get mother love.
Yeah, to have mother love and to create cohesion of something that I couldn't just let be an open wound.
Mm-hmm.
To try to make it happen and to make it that I have control over creating, that this is the right thing to do. And also feeling that, and so putting some connotation about women who could love other women as being strong, and that my mother therefore was weak. And thus she didn't, trying to create answers that really weren't having to do with the real situation, but trying to create it. So through a series of trying to understand myself, I finally unsolved the mystery for myself, and decided, and I'm not to say that I still feel like maybe I have bisexualness in me, but I think for me the core in my life so far certainly has been with men. It reaches my core more than with women. It just never quite touched the center for me. And again, the friend I was with, I know it was bringing the core of truth for her in her core. I do feel that. So anyhow, I finally concluded, I decided that even though I was kind of keeping open, I decided I intentionally wanted to look for a man. And I think that figuring out for myself finally allowed things to happen for me, because for 10 years I was in relationships that weren't that significant necessarily. They weren't very heavy relationships or heavily committed relationships. So it was great. I went on eHarmony, and I think it was a great tool to learn to start the gears towards dating. They ask you all sorts of questions, and I was really grateful for these dating tools to think about, what do I want, what are my values, what am I looking for, which really helped. And I involved myself in stuff I enjoyed doing, and then I met you. And I knew for sure I was looking for someone with an open mind, wanting to learn, wanting to grow, who valued other people and community.
Well, tell the audience how you met me.
So I met you, I went to dance.
Present tense if you can.
Okay, I meet you at, first I meet you at dance camp, where you briefly walk through and tell me what my name means, and your name is Michael, which means the same thing, in an art cabin. And you walk on, and I just say, what a nice person, nice man. And
that was me.
And then I meet you at Contact Dance, and we dance together. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking you're old, maybe a little too old, but I...
That's me again. Old beard, yes.
And, but I still dance with you. It's not like I, don't dance with you. I dance with you, and you ask me some interesting questions at the end of the dance. You ask if I like to take care of others, and ask me about, because I was a nurse, and you asked me some interesting questions. So I know that you're interesting, and then 6 months later, I meet you at a dance, New England dance, and we talk during a lunch break. And I mentioned that my parents are sailing. You offered to share contact information about some friends that also did a sailing trip, and they made a video. And so I thought that was great. And then at the end of the day, so you give me that information, and at the end of the day, or it might be even the next day, we take a tango lesson together at dance camp. And then I try on a necklace at the end. That they're selling necklaces, and you tell me that it doesn't look, you kind of are standing by the sidelines, and I just look up, and you're like, no, that one doesn't look good. And I appreciate having feedback about what might look good, what might not. And so I appreciate that. It seems like a nice connection. And then, because it's the end of the day, we walk together, and I drive you back to your car, and we talk a little bit more. And then on email, I come back from that weekend having two connections. I feel like I have two possible fish that I caught from the weekend, which was some of my intention. And I tell my friend, because you wrote back to me and said if I wanted a poem a day, you have a poem a day, I could get on your list, because you send me the link about your friends that have the sailing. And I say, great. And I look you up online and you look really interesting. I see videos of CCTV videos that you've done for 10 years. And I am impressed that you are open to learning so much and are involved with people. And also that your writing. I love your writing about your cat. And I read a lot of your stories that you posted on your website. And I was very moved in how careful and particular you did with your writing, which really spoke to me. And then you send me poems, and it inspires me to be creative and spend time writing, which is a lot of fun. And then, so I tell my friend, I said I came back from this workshop with this older guy that sends me poems, and
There's the older guy. Here I am
the
again.
older guy.
Oh.
And then this other psychiatrist who I tried to get in touch with, he never called me back. So I told my friend that we went to dance together, and she got to hear about the whole development. And yeah, so then we got together, and because
Present tense if you can.
okay, we meet. You tell me you like to sing me some songs and sing your poetry to me, maybe. Go for a walk and sing some poetry. If there's anything that could entice me, something creative like that is exactly the way to catch me. So I just thought that was fantastic. And I write a poem to share with you, and I bring it with me on that trip. And I like my poetry that I was inspired by with you. And we meet, and it takes a long time to get to the poem, singing of the poem. In fact, the whole trip almost goes away without doing that. But I finally ask in the car, could you sing me the poem? And I think it was hard. And it was nice. And so we shared a kiss that lasted 2 weeks for me, that was a bond that had such impact on that trip. And also I shared a poem, and you said something, you were touched, I think, by the home. At the end of the poem I say it's about recycled, and it's about going home. So you had caught that and mentioned that, so that's kind of what I remember. And we've been on quite a journey together, quite a journey. Most significant change in my life and impactful is my time with you. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Minutes.
It was
Yeah.
good to know.
So
We don't really
sit
have
down.
time. No,
Yes, you do. We have 4 minutes.
3
3 minutes?
3 minutes. I think we should save the next story for next time, I think.
I've got to stop going first. That's all.
Oh. I mean, I could no, I don't think I should start. I think we should
Okay.
respond to your story.
Oh,
'Cause we
okay.
have
Yeah,
3
respond to our story.
Yes. So it's good to hear. I didn't know this quite. Not quite.
Oh.
No, I didn't. I mean, I'm refraining from saying my version of
Okay,
this.
yeah.
And I did not remember us meeting the first time in the art cabin. And the second time we meet, I guess I am starting it. It's a contact dance at the Masonic Temple in Porter Square. And you tell me that we had met before, and it's a very, very lovely dance. And very slow. You say to me, I like slow dancing.
And so I like the pressure of not having to fast, and it's very touching. And then, after it ends, we're both standing on the steps of the Masonic Temple. Mass ad is in front of us, and you tell me you're going to spend the night at Leslie's. And you tell me you're from northern New Hampshire, and I think that's too far. But in my mind, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice to spend the night with her? She'd be so free, she's far away. It wouldn't just be a nice night. It was so nice, and we're standing there, we're not saying anything. I don't have the courage to say you could stay. And maybe that would have ruined it forever for us. You could say I would have been the end of all, and it's because I was a coward. I didn't say it. And so, but I could, yes.
Oh, it would have been the end.
Oh, whoa! Let's
Maybe not.
hear it for cowardice.
Maybe not.
Let's hear it for cowardice.
Maybe not.
Well, somehow that's close to what happened anyway.
Yes. Okay.
Close to what happened anyway. So, and then the next time we meet, it's almost by an accident. I'm going to a tango class, and I see you, and we start dancing. No, there was no, there was the bracelet, right? The necklace, and how did I don't even remember the order, and we're running out of time. But I do again remember walking you to your car, and then you just saying after that, "Can I drive you to your car?" And I didn't need a drive, but I said okay. And on that drive, we mentioned poetry. And I say I could send some poetry to you and tell you and send you the link to the video of my friends who sail the sea. And that's it for tonight. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.